Hey everyone, this is Uri Peleg, and today I'm going to be talking about a high stakes hand history where both players are making fairly big theoretical mistakes. So let's start by going through the hand. bit2easy raises button, 4-6-4 3-bets the big blind, and 5-6-8 flop, 4-6-4 checks, and we have a stab, a call, check call the turn, river check, bit2easy shots, 4-6-4 calls, and they turn up pocket threes and pocket aces. Now, if I were to see this hand back in 2012, when we were all naive and didn't know about solvers, I'd say that bit2easy was a spewy aggro guy making a terrible bluff, and 4-6-4 was making a good adjustment of recognizing he's against a very aggressive player and just slow playing aces. But these days in 2020, mostly when people see these hands, they just think this is something the solver would do. The guys are doing it at a low frequency and everything's okay, and they just move on. So we're going to take a look at a piosolver sim and actually show that this is not the case. So we'll start out with a flop play where aces checks, threes is an okay hand to bet, aces is an okay hand to call. And moving on to the turn, this is the first place you'd see a solver disagreeing with the players, where threes is never checking, but it's not a small mistake. Threes betting is a $330 mistake, and there's no hand type similar to threes betting. Deuces, fours, 5x, pocket sevens, 8, 9, ace, queen, ace, jack, all the similar hand strength hands to threes never bet. So this is really something that solver would just never do. It's not a low frequency play. And in fact, it's the biggest EV mistake you could possibly make. When we look at how much solver prefers checking a hand, threes and deuces are actually the two hands it prefers checking the most, followed by, ace, 5, 4s, and ace, queen, the hands right around them. So a very, very big mistake by Pio. The reason for this is that threes before betting has 40% equity. When you bet, villain folds ace, queen, he calls 5x, so he's folding every worse hand, calling every better hand. After he calls, your equity drops to 11%. So really kind of an old school logic. When you bet, you want to either fold out better or get called by worse, and this hand is right in the spot where it's doing neither of that. You get called by every better hand, you fold out every worse hand. Just a very, very bad play in a vacuum. Similar on the river, threes is not the hand to bluff river with. It has too much showdown value still. The 10% equity still holds, so this is a $350 river mistake. On the turn, 4-6-4 who check called with aces, solver considers this a mistake as well and would always check raise aces, actually check shove aces. I think this mistake, in air quotes mistake, is more understandable given how aggressive bit2easy was playing. Trapping more is a good adjustment against that. We could stop here and say, bit2easy made a mistake, mistakes happen, and leave it at that. But I think there's a deeper lesson to be learned in this hand about imitating solvers without understanding them. And I don't blame bit2easy for betting turn with threes, because these type of bets happen often. There are a lot of sims where under pairs to the board will be turned into bluffs, and if you understand why better, you would have understood that this is not the spot for it. But it's definitely a play that happens, and it happens quite often. And you guys can see it on the 8 of diamonds, for example, where threes is okay to bet at a low frequency, but then 4s and 5x always bet. And of course, the difference here is going to be that when you bet on the 8, you are actually getting called by quite a decent amount of worse hands, and you're also getting more protection since the board is paired. This is why it's so important when you're using a solver to make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.